right out. Hi guys, so today I'm going to be sharing how to make my vegan cornbread. I feel like this recipe is a must when we're coming into the fall. We're thinking about baking more, we're thinking about filling our house with all those warm, delicious spices, and this is the recipe you need to make. I know everyone talks about pumpkin loaf, but cornbread is the way to go. It's really nice and sweet and moist, and it actually has this really nice texture. What I love about this recipe is that we're using corn flour, but it's not too gritty. Sometimes I find when we're making cornbread, it's too textured, not my vibe. With this one, it's the perfect texture. The recipe is also 8 ingredients. It's entirely vegan, and I really think you're gonna love it. So let's get into making the recipe. We're gonna start by preparing our loaf pan. I've got like kind of a fancy loaf pan. I bought this on Amazon, so I'll include the link below. It's got this nice like pumpkin design, which I just feel is so fall. Looks really good with the cornbread, also looks really good with a pumpkin loaf. But if you don't have this, you can also just use a regular 9-inch rectangular loaf pan. It works just as well. So in order to prep a loaf pan, I'm going to give it a little spray with oil. I'm using coconut oil. You can use whatever oil spray you want. And then next, I'm going to take a little bit of all-purpose flour. If you're ever using a pan that has like a lot of edges, like maybe it's something like this where it has a pattern, or you're using like a bundt cake or a bundt loaf pan and it's got all those like little edges around it and grooves, this is the trick to stop your loaf from sticking to the pan. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a little bit of flour and you're gonna sprinkle it into the loaf pan. I obviously got way too much in one section, so now I'm just kind of like moving around the flour to get it into all the grooves. I'm gonna do a couple other spots that didn't really get any love. I just really wanna just lightly coat it. And this means when we invert the loaf pan, it's just gonna separate from all those little grooves. So we're gonna take that loaf pan, we can put it to the side, and now we're gonna get out a small bowl and incorporate all our dry ingredients. So we're gonna add 1 3/4 cups cornmeal, 3/4 cups all-purpose flour, 1 cup of cane sugar, 3 tablespoons of ground chia, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm gonna mix this to combine. Okay, we'll just pull this away and we'll get started on our wet. We are going to add 1/2 cup of avocado oil. You can do any type of neutral oil, that's why I picked avocado. Then we have 1 cup of coconut milk and 3/4 cups almond milk. Let's just whisk this to combine before we add our dry ingredients. Now we're gonna add in the dry ingredients in batches, and we're just gonna stir it into our wet. So the reason why I like starting with my wet ingredients in the bigger bowl versus the dry is because sometimes I feel like when I'm incorporating my dry and wet ingredients and I do the inverse with the dry in the big bowl and the wet going in, I actually miss a lot of the mixing. And so when I pour it into my loaf pan, there's a whole bunch of dry ingredients that's just like stuck to the bottom, and I'm like, great, okay, I didn't mix it enough. Whereas this way I feel like it's just so much easier to combine everything and make sure that you've got a really nice mixture. Okay, we have a little bit left here, so we're gonna throw this in. And you can see it's like totally becoming a cakey texture, which is what we want. I love doing everything in batches because you just kind of have more control over the batter. Things are less likely to clump, so that's why we kind of do it in those batches. Okay, so now we can get this in our pan. I'm gonna give the loaf pan a little tap to remove any of the air bubbles. And we're gonna bake this in the oven for 40 to 50 minutes at 350. Okay, she's golden, she's raised, she's beautiful, she smells delicious. This is beautifully golden brown. I have let it cool for 10 minutes. Now I'm going to invert it and we're gonna get that beautiful top. It just popped right out. So there we have it, my 8-ingredient vegan cornbread. This is a must for the fall. It is sweet, it is moist, it is the perfect amount of grit. We taste the cornmeal, but it's still got this really light, fluffy, cakey texture, which I love so much. I love to slather it with a little bit of vegan butter, sprinkle it with salt, and you're good to go. Okay, now for the taste test. I am so excited. This smells so freaking good. Cheers. Are you kidding me? It's soft, it's moist, not too gritty, deliciously sweet. You guys have to make it this fall. And make sure that you give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.